It's time to work on measuring progress and adjusting. I have two simple messages for you in this presentation. The first is that assessment is essential to improving and sustaining innovation. The only way to have new teaching practices become better is to try new practice, look at the results in a disciplined way, and then see what you can learn about improving. And I know that the idea of assessment comes with a lot of emotional baggage for educators. In some ways, many public school teachers feel like assessment has been weaponized as a bludgeon against teachers rather than as a tool to support them. But all that politics and baggage doesn't change the fact that if we want to improve, we need to be able to look at what we're doing in a systematic way. The second message is assessment is more about disciplined common sense than any special technical expertise. And don't get me wrong, you can go and get a PhD in program evaluation, and if you have someone with some technical assessment skills, then by all means put them to work. But we're going to do a series of case studies in this unit that will demonstrate that smart educators like yourselves can come up with great ideas for how to get started assessing new initiatives. The hard part is more about getting started and making time, rather than figuring out exactly what to do. Actually, we've already been talking with an educator who's doing great work with measuring progress and adjusting. Kate Lewis at the Oak Middle School in Shrewsbury, back in Unit 3. Let's take a minute to go back to one thing that she said.
I ask for feedback from students in several ways, just informally. My homeroom, I ask them questions all the time in the morning. Hey, should we do this? Or what do you think about this reading? What do you think about that reading? And I get just their feedback in very informal ways. Another way to do it is, mid-project, before a project starts, mid-project, and then after the project, asking the students to fill out a survey about what they're learning really helps you figure out what you need to do. And it really gives good feedback for changes that you might want to make either along the way or moving forward in the future.
What Kate Lewis describes is a disciplined approach to assessment. Nothing incredibly complicated, just regularly asking students for their thoughts, looking closely at student work, and adjusting her project-based learning efforts based on that feedback. You all know by now that Peter and I are big fans of cycles. Another way to put it is that innovation is usually the result of iteration. You have an idea, you put it into practice, you test it, you keep refining. So we want to share one more cycle with you. One powerful toolkit for pursuing innovation is design thinking, a systematic approach to solving complex problems. Here we have a model of design thinking from the Eureka Lab, a collaboration between the Edgerton Center at MIT and the Meadowbrook School here in Greater Boston. Design thinking encourages people to start by understanding and defining problems, like we did in this course with our problem of practice exercise, and then to prototype new ideas and to put them into action. And then you test them in the real world so you can gather evidence of how well they're working. That new data and evidence then informs how you understand the problem, what new ideas you might try, and what else you might prototype. Design thinking, like the cycle of experiment and experience, gives us a framework for thinking about how change and innovation really happen in schools. In this design thinking framework, measuring progress and adjusting is all about trying and being disciplined about looking at the results. Let's work on that for a little bit. So here's what you're going to do. I'm going to give you a short set of scenarios, and in each of these scenarios, you're going to act as consultants, helping an organization figure out about how to gather assessment data about a new initiative. After each scenario, I'll offer a little debrief that does two things. First, I'll likely show you that you, and hopefully your colleagues, if you're taking this course with others, came up with great ideas for doing good assessment. Second, I'll give you a few additional power tips for assessing new initiatives. Those are a couple of ideas that'll get you started measuring progress and adjusting.